Welcome to the Team WUNAX Yugioh podcast, where we blend competitive prowess with the joy of the game. Your host will be Cardboard, and in this podcast, we're diving into the thrilling world of competitive dueling. Join us as we break down the ever-evolving meta, analyze card choices, and share tournament preparation strategies, all while keeping the spirit of fun alive. Our collective of dedicated duelists, along with special guests, will guide you through the exciting journey of Yugioh. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a casual player, we're here to make sure you not only win, but have a blast while doing it. So stay tuned for more from Team WUNAX, because in this podcast, having fun is the name of the game.
People have now read Sarcophagus activates up to 4 times per turn. They're going to be playing it.
Yeah, I had a tier mirror on Sunday, and the dude was just like losing his mind that he activated more than once. You gotta read these cards, bro. You gotta read these cards, man.
And then, like, across different matchups, it just has a very either they're stopped. They have to go down a different line of play in which they have a half board, like Pac would say, or they just outright -1 to do everything that they want to do. And so then they invest all their hand into the board, and it makes the game state much more simplistic. Yeah, man, if you ain't got ultis or you want some high rarities, man. You also notice that's another card that they did not reprint in the rarity collection.
What card?
What card?
Ghost Ogre.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, Ghost Ogre.
Ulti Ghost Ogres are sexy. I can't even lie about that.
How much are they right now?
120, and nobody knows about them.
We need to hop on that train, bro.
That shit good.
Talk about that.
You was talking about Ghost Ogre like a couple weeks ago, too, to me, and I'm saying
I brought it up. Yeah, I was like, I just like it. I like it a lot. All right,
like
so
Ghost Ogre into Little Knight seems okay though, you know.
Yeah.
Ghost Ogre just shits on Little Knight, man.
Everybody's playing that card, and then it's good against the Sarcophagus cards.
Does your monster still banish if he gets Ogre?
So if it resolves, right, it'll resolve as much as possible, trying to bring as many as possible back. So I see where you got the logic right there. But if both do not banish at that point when it activates, nothing gets banished.
Okay, I also had a ruling with Little Knight this past weekend, and I wish you weren't at YCS. I was gonna call you, but I'm like, he's busy. My board, so I SP'd one of his monsters, his Astrolabe, in my SP or whatever. Then I built my board, and then I had enough monsters where SP couldn't come back. Does his monster come back too?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what they call it too. They call it.
Yeah. So it'll resolve as much as possible, trying to bring everything back on the board. But since SP can't come back, SP will hit the graveyard.
It doesn't stay banished. Okay, that's the part where we messed up. We kept SP banished.
I mean, that's good for you because they couldn't dark your shit. But
I guess.
Yeah, that's how it go.
Oh, but like the real ruling is it goes to grave.
Yeah, because it'll attempt to come back. And because it ain't got no place to come back to, it'll just go straight to the graveyard.
All right, are we ready?
See, guys, this is why we tune into the DUELIST EDGE podcast. You get some insights from, YCS toppers.
All right, welcome, guys, to the Yugioh DUELIST EDGE podcast. We're gonna recap some regionals that just happened, YCS that happened, and we actually have a top regional and top YCS player here from the team. Cookie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi there. My voice ain't all together, but my name is KAILYN, most commonly referred to as Cookie. I hope everybody's having a good time. Right now, I definitely have taken a great liking to Horus Bestial. Just the power that it provides and the recurability that it has. From the outside looking in, don't look like much, and then you see it on stream, and all of a sudden my, no cards in hand turns into 6 cards in hand, and yeah, it becomes a problem.
Okay, so how does that happen? How does like the advantage work? Because I don't know the deck too well. I just see it splash a little bit like in tier. So you're playing like a more like pure version, would you say?
I wouldn't say pure, right? So the thing about like the Horus cards, because we got to talk about each engine separately just to see what they bring to the table and why the decks are called what they're called. So Horus, being the main sub engine, provides draw power and like bodies, so like board presence, which can translate into link monsters, exceeds monsters, and just all around damage. So first and foremost, Mseti's 3,000 attack.
Yeah, that's a
And
big monster.
that guy's big, and he's dark, which just so happens to go with, the master of faster Vision Resonator. So because of that, you have some ambiguity on like where your avenues are first and second. So going first, you can set up in a vampire, use that to dig to engine, or you can use it as supplemental after you've already done your combo and just like put up extenders. In tandem with going second, it just makes it very easy to clear boards, because especially like as we've seen, Fenrir is very popular. But if we also read every card that's in these interactions I'm going to outlay, Fenrir can do nothing. Like absolute, like he is afraid of the Horus cards.
Really?
For 2 reasons. Yes. So number one, if we read King's Sarcophagus, it has a secret effect where it turns all of the Horus monsters into catasters. So at the beginning of the damage step, they die. In tandem with, when Mseti activates, this is reason number 2, there's nothing on board for Fenrir to target. So by the time we immediately activate Sarcophagus, it's over with, because we just bring Mseti, go straight to battle phase. And if you want to play around that, you bring Happy on board, and then so on and so forth. So that's what the Horus engine provides. That's why the Horus engine is as good as it is, because it's an engage that puts a body on board. So inherently a +1. The reason why I opted for the Bestial engine as my main like deck engine over like something like PK or Tier is because inherently the Dragon engine beats all other engines that, like all other dark engines that could just go with Horus, because we play Bestials. As a result of that, their grind game is just inherently worse, and the Vision Resonator summons itself. I like making synchro level 8s, level 10s, and those cards paired well together. Yeah. Now, when all of those decks go together, to answer your main question, right, this is how the resource game usually goes. As long as King's Sarcophagus is on the board, you get your monsters out of grave, right? That's one aspect of it. Once Vision Resonator hits the graveyard, you get a card that says you can add from deck or graveyard, right? Then when you get Lubellion into graveyard, you start to access monsters that either, search any dragon to keep the combo going, or you put resources on the board provided with the Bestials that either draw you a card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Fuck is that, a branded fusion?
What up, Kavar?
We're talking about branded regain right here. I'm talking about, the best spell card that got branded on it.
We're talking about Cookie and how he's causing all the buyouts.
I love that the Bestial is level 8 too, so that just is like, I don't know, the whole engine like seems really nice. Like you're synchroing, you're making these big moves. You got your like hand traps. Like, is it nice to play Bestials? Like, are they pretty effective against what you've been playing against recently? Like, are they, besides just banishing your own stuff? Like is besides Tier, like, are you doing other stuff?
So I had a conversation with this lovely individual who I think he's the owner of TCG Fandom, but he essentially said it, plainly. The Bestials put the Dragon engine on their back. So, for example, we all know from history, level 8 dragons are just good, right? Whether or not they got a good effect, that's separate. The fact that they were a level 8 dragon, and in most cases a light and dark, is just, it coincides with the whole dragon theme very well. So that, in tandem with, every single Bestial is 2,500 attack and level 6. So not only are they just really good extenders for the synchro aspect, but they're also very good for just getting over cards. So, for example, let's say someone isn't maining or playing Fenrir. You know, majority of the time that you get over your stuff, if you're not link climbing or synchro climbing up to, you know, put them in a game state where they just don't want to interact, and I'll talk about that more. You're usually just summoning a Bestial, in most cases Serenia or a Druisworm, and either attacking into something or just sending Druisworm to the graveyard and picking apart their board while you play. Right. How did that translate to other matchups? Let's rewind back to Indy. When Rescue Ace, like, it was the reason why it's perceived that Horus Bestial has a bad Rescue Ace matchup is because the Horus Bestial player lost to Rescue Ace, but they all failed to mention or they didn't know that I played 6 Rescue Ace decks and I beat 4 of them, right? And the 2 that I didn't win against happened to just draw better than me. So against the field or against non-light and dark decks, it still performs well because you have additional engines that help supplement or circumvent those interactions with MSETI, Vision Resonator, and then your toolbox of extra deck.
Hey, sounds like a good deck. Like, the main deck has like almost like a toolbox like feel to it. I feel like with like your removal within, you know, like your Druisworm like option that you can just go into, and then like linking into just like even more powerful, like, I don't know. You play Access Code?
I do not. So the reason, I had a couple of questions about that. My whole thing about playing the higher link monsters that do more damage or do spot removal, I felt just wasn't necessarily like feasible. And the reason why, number one, it's similar to the reason why I didn't like Rockets. I do not want my game plan to be, I got to build up to something to out your board while already playing through interruptions, right? Because it's not like, oh, I Dark Ruler'd your board and I got to get rid of everything. That's why Borderland was cracked when it first came out, because everybody was Dark Ruling everybody's boards and then playing past it. Well, we don't do that no more. You got to play, and as you playing, your opponent is sitting there with their second player controller and they're pressing buttons too. So you got to like maneuver and pivot. And how we did that through this deck was the Red Dragon Archfiend engine, because once Scarred hits the board, there's very few interactions they can do to play around what Scarred does. So like, you can book a moon, sure, but if I have Lubellion, it doesn't do much for you. You can nib, sure, I get another dragon, so on and so forth. So like, as you play more, you put your opponent in situations where they would -1 to interact. And slowly,
is Scar? What is this card that you're talking about? Is it a new card?
It's a level 8 synchro from the Crimson King structure deck. That says if it leaves the field and goes to the graveyard, it summons a Red Dragon Archfiend from the extra deck. Then it checks to see if it was used as material for a Dark Dragon synchro monster, and if it was, it destroys all attack position monsters your opponent controls. Another effect that other people probably don't know exists. So what did that translate to in terms of board breaking? Well, so in most game states, you will find yourself staring up a bunch of monsters that are in defense, so you can't lightning storm them. Maybe a link monster like SP Little Knight, and then some, maybe some back row to go with it, or just some hand traps to supplement it. Well, after you out the SP Little Knight, in whatever way or fashion, maybe you wanted to, maybe you have talents, you wanted them to play in a talent, so you had Imperm or whatnot, or say you just had a way to get to the Red Dragon Archfiend, and you went straight to battle phase. Nevertheless, the SP Little Knight is outed. Well, when you have Red Dragon Archfiend, you go to the battle phase, Crimson Gaia has another additional effect that says, if Red Dragon Archfiend declares an attack on attack declaration, you put all of your monsters, opponent's monsters, in face down defense position. Book the field. And we all know what the Master Faster does when it, attacks a defense position monster. It blows them all up. So,
so you were doing that?
Yeah. Oh man, that's like main form of board removal. You put
like
up 2
OG. Like back in like the 5Ds, like Red Dragon Archfiend comes out and
Definitely.
Well, it gets even stronger because Red Crimson Guy also has the card has 3-4 effects, bro. If a monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, a monster, they don't matter when, they don't care. You can summon a Red Dragon Archfiend from your graveyard. So you remove Scarred, you put out Red Dragon Archfiend, you out their board, you summon Scarred back, you push for damage, right? It gave you easy accessibility to another rank 8. It also lets you do dirty things like loop Scarlight, should you want to. It just overall gave me the ability to push go in second, which I had a recurring theme of playing decks that could not go second.
Damn, you're really onto something here. You're making me want to put down this Rika deck I just built and play your deck. Honestly.
No, you gotta be a master of what you doing, bro. Like you've been bouncing around too much.
I am a big advocator for testing everything because another thing that I wanted to share with the team, but we get to share with everyone else. So if you're listening to this podcast, you get some exclusive insight. But we are now transitioning into a format where you can't really worry about. I mean, you can worry about the cards that are being played, but you have to like take your focus off the best prominent cards and focus on play styles. So there's 3 reasons to supplement that. Number 1, the format is as wide as the outside. There's not much you can prepare for in terms of bad matchups because you're going to have a bunch of bad matchups that are similar to the original bad matchups you had because there's other decks that do similar things to what that deck does. That's 1. Number 2, as a result of that, you're not going to know what you're playing when you sit down. And then 3, the rarity collection. So the rarity collection,
how gave a boost to a lot of people. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people. So now, that does like 2 sub things. 1, it introduces new players. So we're gonna have an influx of new players who are not gonna be, intimidated by the fact that they have to buy staples. And then 2, because everyone has access to these really good, like how many people finna have talents in their deck, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
when talents is like $20-$30,
droplets, evenly matched. Like you're gonna see all the best cards just main deck now. Like
so
already
now
happening.
You just gotta be the better player. You just have to be a skillful player. Like you just have to know what interactions result in what, and you have to plan accordingly for said interactions. So whether you go first or second, and whether or not you think your opponent may be on A card or B card, your opponent probably built their board trying to play around like either a hand trap or a specific board breaker, and then will lose to something else that they didn't expect. And again, that's why I advocate test everything so that you are prepared for said situations.
Man, that's like such a huge install, man. But that's lovely information.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Is this what he's playing on stream though? Hold on, let me see some resonator cards.
I think he's playing.
He's not going like.
I thought it was ninjas.
But I feel, man, and this is just me, that like you discovered the deck and like been perfecting it, and you've been leading the wave, bro. I see a lot of people hopping on that train now and seeing the power of not only the Horus cards, but like the resonator cards in tandem.
Yeah, we are getting to a point where just really good engines are going to start shining. Fortunately, I was one of the first to read them and use them to their best applications. But again, like they're coming out with really good engines. They have different applications, can be used in different situations, and I love that that's going to bring a lot of diversity in terms of decks. Like we're going to see a lot of decks just throw engines in there and be good because of those engines and their relative spin with other, archetypes.
Definitely. I'm also excited to see like, the new Horus field spell and how that's all gonna play into.
It's gonna be very exciting.
What are some bad matchups for you? Like, what did you struggle with, or what have been some of your losses?
So majority of my losses, well, I think I have like some on top of my head. For sure, the Trap Tricks player who did me in with a Gravedigger's Trap Hole, Pearly, and Plant to a degree. So all three of these decks have a tool to, or a general game plan to have spot removal, right? So spot removal in mass really hurts this deck because a lot of the power cards that come from this deck come from, you either attributing your own monsters or using your monsters for synchro material, so on and so forth. And when you just get to remove them from the field, then it's hard for me to play at all.
Right. So like the ricochet, like interruptions that are just like, you're just left with like your bodies. It's kind of like when you book a Salamangreat player, I'd assume, like you kind of get a couple things out there and then get interrupted.
Yeah, similar to that, or similar to, it was, exactly what you said. Like, remember back in 2019 when you either booked their monster or you bounced it with seals and they'd pass if they didn't have will. So like, in each situation, the Gravedigger's Trap Hole with the Trap Tricks, we play the back and forth game, but like inherently, it just, anything that activates in the hand or graveyard, I just take 2K. Here, bro. Against Pearly, we noticed that I played Xyz's Encore in tandem with Droplet, which I probably didn't need 6 cards to go against Pearly, but what I just did not want to have to deal with was, there's this guy that I tested with a lot, his name's Omar. Omar is the only person I knew who could put up a 7/8 material noir, and I'd play through it. I'd play through all 4 spins, and he'd have 2 or 3 hand traps to just, put the dirt over the coffin. So,
man, that's dirty.
So like, I didn't want to have to deal with that. And, against Plant, similarly, if the opponent knows the matchup well enough, they will just tribute the cards you need and then just, snowball affect you. And then you're just done.
Yeah. They'll tribute your own stuff to negate your own stuff. I love it. Look at this. This is my opening hand right now. I already did, we're testing it because this deck is really complex. You have to like really know your lines, and if you get you have to more so know what to do if you get interrupted and when you get stopped. And that's where I committed about 2 weeks to learning this deck, and then I tried to take it to, I think it was just the Star Charity and locals a couple of times. I did okay, but I retired it to go back like to Dark World or go to Purely. And like John said, I've been bouncing around a little too much, but I just get bored solitairing decks. And I want to, when you pick up the different decks and play them, then you learn them better too. So when you play against them, there can be a benefit to it. Or you could just watch High Rated.
I'm actually glad you said that because I can segue right to, what one of my captains or, one of my bosses asked me. So essentially, in tandem with testing the meta to see what everything does, you can also test to see what your deck loses to. So, for example, we don't have to use my dragon deck. We can use like we can use like the Infernoble deck.
Yeah.
Infernoble deck, had like 3 different variants it could go down. It could either do the Jen and Ken / connector stuff. It could do the adventure engine. Or you can mix it with something else where
Meccano was performing well actually over the weekend with Infernoble stuff.
Yes.
Meccano at Quick Deck. Yeah. That was cool. It was going first and like just putting up so much advantage and doing crazy shit, giving their opponent Acid Golem, and then they take 2K, they can't special summon, and they just can attack into the Acid Golem like twice in his game.
So
it's so dumb.
It is dumb. It is dumb. Each variant was to like play around a certain problem that, you know, other variants had. So like the pure variant, the one that took hand traps out of your hand with Jen and Ken, you know, talents or connector, what that, you know, circumvents or gets around is the hand trap factor. So like there's two things that go up with that, two sides of that coin. One, you're gonna hit hand traps, and you know you're gonna be scot free. Your opponent's gonna be upset. They're gonna be looking like Mojo Jojo on the ground when you're done, and then you know you're gonna go to game two. But then on the other side of that coin, coin, you know, you're gonna see cards that you can't take. You're gonna take 500 life points, but because you have hand knowledge, you get to play around it. Like hand knowledge is like one of the most forbidden things in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like they let it be legal because, you know, it's what it is.
Yeah.
But it as like a card mechanic, you know, it's just, oh my god.
It's not fair at all. It should.
You can play this card. It doesn't Horus have a water monster?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Funny enough, like I really wanted to play that card when Gishki Sprite was gonna be a thing, and they just said, "Yeah, Elf, you gotta go, bro. Like it's done."
So they just have a.
Is nice, and I just don't understand why they put her on a secret.
Oh, the water.
So in Rika, you can like one card. Okay, so if you open up these two cards, right? You guys already know like what this card does. Puts up like 5 interruptions, put the theory on shit. But then if you have this too, casually, you just special it, and then boom. Like you can search this, and then it's in your graveyard to negate and tribute. So it's just like floating. Having an extra floating water is super easy in this deck, and then you can just play thrust to search that. So like I love.
We also need to talk about thrust too. I feel like everybody who's in this podcast right now needs to offload every last copy they have. So, well, let's be real. I'm gonna ask a question that I do not need an answer to because I'm pretty sure, you know, the light bulb's gonna go off. How many times do you really want to activate talents game one? Not talents, thrust. Like when they do not need. So you mean to tell me you're gonna activate thrust when they don't have a monster on board? And you're gonna set a broken trap. I can tell you the best deck who does that now, who isn't doing that anymore, and that's Unchained.
Really?
So they're not playing thrust now?
It's well, all right. So, what cards do we want to search off thrust outside of engine?
I don't know for Unchained. I don't know.
So, well, the reason why thrust was so good in there is because you hand trap them great. They set a trap and keep going. But if you take the focus off of like what they do to search the monsters and you just interact with the cards that just summon the monsters, like if you ash the trap or you imperm, let's say a Yama when they need the extra monster in their hand, right, and they can't keep progressing, then they stop. So now, like, they take that out and they either play cards like Talents or they play other extenders to keep themselves going so that they can still get to either Caesar or the Rage plus the trap. So, and then in other decks too, like, the general consensus was you only wanted to main thrust if you could play a trap card that was good to set. But as players who are also deck builders, we also know that, like, if you play certain cards that are only meant to be searched, there are going to be games where you draw them. Yeah. And in games you draw them, it just significantly lowers your, you know, ability to win because you got to circumvent the fact that you drew this search target.
And then that's one less card. That's engine. And one
yes. Yes. And then pair that with the fact that you have thrust to search it.
Yep. I ran into that issue a lot when I was playing Vanquish the last format. That was before we got the support. I haven't tested none of the new cards and how that's working. Before it was like we'd go for the Eradicator, the Eradicator Borger play. Opening. Sometimes you'd open like two Eradicator, 2 Borger, and I just lose the game. I lost the game already, just because you're trying to play that one or two off card, that blowout card, and then you end up, you know, getting punished for it. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and albeit, you know, I topped with it in my YCS list. The reason why I did more talents than thrust was literally the same logic of I would rather search talents. So why not just draw talents?
Yeah, because that's one of the targets you're using for thrust.
And it's
So
the
were you
most
playing any
powerful
thrust or
one.
like just like one thrust?
I'm
rocking
basically
one right
three, right? Basically 3 talents when you do that.
Yeah, it's basically 3 talents
That's
because in
smart.
every situation where you want to search something, if you're already searching talents and you're not setting imperm or you're not searching a broken spell card in your deck, which you probably don't need to because, you know, you have enough copies of it anyway, what's the point? In the side deck, you know, it could be relegated there, but like also in the side deck, how many normal spells and traps do we want to see in the side deck? Like evenly is one that I could see, but like even people were trying to drop that off.
You got actually a lot. You got Herald, you got Lightning Storm, you have D Barrier. You got some fire picks. That's why I almost like thrust like as like a side engine almost. Like I've seen it in the side. Like so I have never tested it like with just being in my side, but I've seen that.
Yeah, I like the being able to like put one-ofs in your side, right? And then like being able to like almost have like a toolbox of one-ofs that you can like.
That's literally like.
But I don't.
If you look, that's what I just said. The cards I said.
Card. It just seems, you know, neat in interaction.
Well, so
got like one, two.
You're correct in that aspect. Now let's take that and let's put it in a practical sense, right? Where you side going first or second, with your respective targets. Going first, right? Even if you do get to the side card via thrust or drawing it, could we agree that you would still want to put something up with your engine in the event that that card does not do enough?
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. I think any format that's reliant on thrust or talents is not healthy. And first of all, and then like second, like I don't know what deck could run that many non-engine and be successful.
I mean, that has to be explored. I don't really have that answer either.
Yeah, exactly. That's like.
I think that's something that someone could find in a certain deck, maybe a future deck that comes up that has the ability to give you that much non-engine. But also on the adverse side of this, you know, proposal or this scenario, let's say you go second, right? You need your opponent to interact for you to be able to even activate the thrust. And in that scenario, the question begs, let's say, you know, well, not let's say, 99, you know, times out of 100, they're probably going to interact with some of your best cards that you need to keep going. And in that scenario, is your thrust going to search something meaningful for your engine, or is it going to search talents?
I think it just searches talents, especially going second, because there's like no better card.
So why not play 3 talents?
Yeah, no, I see your logic 100%.
I like that.
I like that thrust can play around Ash, being able to set stuff. Like that's neat.
Well, that's not necessarily true. They can still ask you if they have no monsters on board.
Really?
Yes.
See, guys, this is why you got to tune into Duelist Edge, man, because even we're learning. Well,
now you know.
You know, so put in your comments your favorite little tip and trick. What up, Pete? I see you just snuck into the pod.
Yo. Yeah. It's. I think we're transitioning to a point where we're just. I don't know how I feel about thrust. Essentially, I don't know if I like it because I actually, even if I wasn't playing this deck, I would have been playing something similar to the Infernoble. I'd probably mix it with the Rescue Ace cards, but even in that situation where, like, you know, I play a non-dark deck, I'm pretty much going to play a combo deck that sets up multiple forms of interactions, same as mine, same as someone else's. And in that line of thinking, I don't see myself citing like super heavy blowout cards because for real, the problems that we're facing right now that we have to address is the toolbox generic extra deck cards.
Yeah, I agree. Like SP Little Knight is absurd. Joining, a pool of like Baron and Axel Synchron, Dispatter, Chaos Angel.
But like that's to be expected, right? Like, because I mean, it's 2023.
Yeah.
Did we expect to play slower Yu-Gi-Oh?
No, it's just gonna get faster.
Yeah. So like, and as it gets faster, I mean, we just got to keep up and not catch up.
Yeah, we gotta stay ahead of the curve. 100%.
Yes, sir.
You got to get your head in the game.
Anything that we saw from different regionals? Or did we want to talk about the YCS?
Let's talk Noble Knight.
I mean, Unchained.
That could just
Yeah.
Unchained is insane, but like Noble Knight, bro, just came out of nowhere.
I mean, is it fair to say that the two best decks are Rescue Ace and Unchained? Like based on
Say
the
Unchained.
YCS
Give it Unchained.
I feel like motherfuckers be getting lucky with Rescue Ace, bro. It's like if you don't draw into like something that interrupt that's set for, you're like cooked.
Yeah. That's why I started playing Valor a lot more.
But Rescue Ace is good. I feel like it's Unchained and low key like tier is insane, bro. Like especially the one that you're playing, John. Like that shit's
the 6 axis.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like,
I love it.
Like
Yeah, I also
Freestyle
feel like
combo.
Venom is up there too. Like Amir just took first place at the Rarity Collection tournament, and his list just looked damn near perfect, man. Like damn near perfect and scary too. Like I feel like if you don't interact with that deck, you just lose.
That is the truth. I managed to play test with like the newer version of the deck post, Age of Overlord with Steve Triff. Shout out to him. Essentially, man, that deck, like honestly, you need a side deck for that. I had to play the Trap Card Shockmaster for that dude. Like, oh my god, bro, that shit just plays through so much.
Yeah, Triff was on fire.
Well, all three engines of it are just gas. So, you got the Scare Claw, you got the regular Vanadium stuff, and then you have the Visa Samsara, which I know it's not a separate engine. I'll continue.
No, I was just gonna say the Samsara stuff too. Like that's nutty, man.
That boy, good.
Yeah.
But every starter they have just plays through certain hand traps in like different sequences. The best one off rip, no contender, is the Vanadium guy, the Vanadium Riem Heart. Yeah. But like even the Scare Claw or the Visa Samsara plays through so much. Like that Link 1 Lightheart does like a lot, bro.
Search spell is nutty.
Yeah, I just finished the deck actually tonight. That's funny that we're talking about it. Yeah,
like the fact that one normal summon gets you your extender and your follow up is wild.
Yeah, I feel like any Link 1 to anybody's deck is insane. Like if you have a Link 1, like Dragon Link for example, like Striker Dragon, bro.
Oh yeah,
banned, bro. Oh my god, why do we still have a Link 1 Dragon?
Nah, he don't need to be banned.
Like, no.
Nah. Well, I mean, hey, I'm gonna forever be an advocate of rocket cards are ass. And as long as rocket cards are ass, Striker Dragon as a blank is good at 1. But at multiple copies, he's a problem.
Yeah, I remember he was at 3.
Like the sole purpose of fucking Pisty and LP combos that happening was, we had Guard Dragon, but it was really Striker who was like, yeah, bro, right here, go ahead, go right there.
I remember Arga painting a red hot, bro. That shit was wild. I can't believe we was doing that.
I can. Y'all was also summoning the dude who said y'all can't search. We can't search.
Oh, Colossus, yeah.
Bums. So, in terms of coverage or looking back in hindsight, what did we think about offensive cards and how non-engine changes moving forward?
I think everyone's gonna be playing Droplet and evenly in their main deck.
Gosh, that combo nasty.
I was
It is, and
discussing.
it's good. Those are good. With Dark Ruler, like we were talking about how good Dark Ruler was too. Like all these really generic big board breakers. It makes going second decks even more viable, which I don't think is talked about enough because you have an extra card. You have an advantage to just like respond to your opponent. And if you build your whole deck around that, that means that you get a win every dice roll. Like you have an extra card and you have that advantage to yourself too. So that's been like in the back of my head every format. And Cashier would be the deck I would pick. Me and John been talking about that too. Has got manifested into. I mean, it's not for me, but I think it's for someone else because I'm on this plant stuff.
Sure, I mean, it doesn't have to be for you, you know. But I do see your point of view, like building a going second deck.
Keep in mind that because this format is so wide, everybody's goals are going to be set differently, right? So as long as you get to the end goal, like low key, bro, I know ends don't justify the means in most cases, but in this format it do, bro. Everybody's gonna be playing a different game plan, whether you playing lab, some shitty ass rogue deck, some deck like a dragon deck, a warrior deck, whatever you want to play. You can play the cats if you want to, but as a result, your game plan is going to be different to getting to your W. And so as long as you can find a consistent way to do that, bro, go for it.
Yeah.
How you feeling I'm playing evenly deck, now that you've been doing
I'm feeling good right now. I've got I just special summoned the princess. We already got the Balenciaga. We got the Regulus up, and now I can attribute this one to special summon the 8, and then this one gets a summon and that overlay for.
So Marshall, I got a question for you.
Yes, what's up, sir?
And this is probably gonna segue to a different conversation, but would it be beneficial if you just like maxed out on Princess and other like plant cards that activate in the graveyard, and then discard it with M-Seti to search Sarcophagus?
Oh, I think I get locked into plants in the combo.
After you do all that though.
Oh, so do that first and then do plant stuff?
Man, M-Seti's getting bought out because it's engage. I think you need an engage.
That draw can refresh your hand too. Like that draw, bro. That draw be so spice, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, bro.
Wait,
sometimes my hand is so ass. And then that draw.
How powerful are you gonna feel? How powerful will you feel if you pitched M-Seti and Princess and you had Petal in your hand?
That'd be pretty good.
You got Sark and a draw. And
See,
a body.
I only know the tip of the iceberg with the. Okay, so you're like, because you get a draw and you put it. Wait, they're level 8s, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
Like right here, I got an 8 right now, and we're gonna do the effect.
Yeah, don't they?
Overlay that.
Don't they sync with like?
Oh, look at this though. Rika Queen. Oh my God! Wait, we already. Oh, I think I might have. I'm supposed to tribute this one instead. See, that's why we're here. But look, that one adds you back.
I'll make you a Horus Rika list.
Horus Rika?
Them cards gonna get hit, bro. Every last one of them. Start going up them bands.
Motherfuckers gonna be gone.
Bro, the bitch is literally engaged, my guy. Like, it's just... The vendors literally saying like people were fiending for that shit by Sunday, like afternoon, man. Like they bought out at 75.
That's crazy, bro. Because I've been playing all week. I went undefeated at locals yesterday, and people despise when you just inherently summon them from the grave. I'm like, they're like, no, they just come out, bro. They don't even activate, bro.
Famous last words. Activate King Shark. That's good.
Shit, I think call by need to go back to 2.
Yeah. yeah. I like that answer.
Blasphemer.
Oh, yes, sir.
Think about it though. Wouldn't that be fire? Like, you know,
it would give more balance to hand traps.
Yeah, that's like the thing I want. I want to be able to use call by. Just I don't want to that one of. You know, I'm tired of relying off of one of, and then that's the case. Like because cross out in your extra deck, that's 3 spots. You know, and it's kind of tough for some decks, especially like those decks that lose to Dro and Lockbird or D shift. You know what I mean? It's just like I feel like cross out is kind of low key like staple that you have to have in the side deck, bro.
Yeah, I almost want to cut a draw and play like 2 of them because I don't like to put 3 in my deck. It just feels too cloudy.
Main in them, and I feel like shit. If call by was 2, bro, that should be insane. Shit, fuck cross out. That's just my opinion.
Call by unlimited.
3. Remember when I was at 3? That shit was nutty.
Yeah. What if they do that and give us back Maxi? And then everybody's putting Ash, Maxi, and call by mandatory 9 cards in your deck. Every deck.
I'm good on playing the Maxi mini game every game.
TCG never allow that to happen. They'll never allow that to happen.
Yeah, Maxi will never come back.
Yeah, that was a good podcast. Thank you for your insight too. I'm going to test this, and now I have to spend a couple $100. Thanks.
Do it before Friday.
Oh yeah, before Friday, before the deck even gets more traction. All right, guys, thank you for tuning into the podcast.